Man, the issues with geography and donations. I am your host, Peeze, Della, Reeze. It is Division 3. This is Calling the Audible. You are Simon Dagenais.
Hi, yes I am.
Who are you?
You just said my name. Well, we'll stop there.
Hi, Eagle.
Hello,
Who are you?
I am Eagle.
I'm Hollow. There's lots of kind of banks out there, and not all of them store cash.
I am Peeze. I don't look good with bangs.
I'm not
Are
surprised.
you sure?
Let's try.
I feel like we should try this.
My hair will never be long enough for bangs. Although
We'll figure
it
it
gets kind of, it just goes upward.
We'll figure it out.
My hair is upwardly mobile.
We'll figure it out.
Unlike my economics, my hair is upwardly mobile.
Okay, let's talk about the week that was first.
Awesome.
The game that mattered. Well, we won't talk about the games like lightweights. We'll talk about the game that mattered.
What happened with lightweight?
Nothing. The game didn't matter. It mattered for one team, but it just didn't matter in the end.
But what happened in the game?
We lost to Trinity, and then Trinity thought they were in the playoffs. And then when Junkyard Dogs won, Trinity was out. So this is what happened this week.
So you lost, right?
Sorry?
So you lost?
Oh yeah. You're not even on camera. You can't talk. Okay, so the game that ended up mattering, Jaguars lost to Sweat and Beers, 48-33, for 48-38. So Jaguars would have clinched playoffs with a win, or if they lose, then they put their fate in the other team's hands. Jaguars lost.
To Sweat and Beers. Great game by Sweat and Beers, by the way.
Yeah. But because they lost, it ended up being like they don't control their own fate.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly,
What's crazy too is that was the first game of the weekend.
Yep.
Was the first game of the weekend was Jaguars take on Sweat and Beers. They lose 48-38, and then they have to wait for a billion games to happen.
Oh yeah. Well, they knew on Monday they were out.
Okay.
The
Still a
commission,
billion games.
exact same scenario. Win, you're in. Lose, you need other teams to lose. Commission lost the Cougars 26-25.
Heartbreaking.
Now that puts Jaguars and Commission at 11 points, 5-4-1. Because the Crew won, the Crew jumped both these guys, which pushed Jaguars out on Monday night. Or Sunday night for Monday anyways. Now, fast forward to Wednesday night. Mastin the Flag is playing Score Your Girlfriend. Score Your Girlfriend, 5-4. If they win the game,
This is crazy.
If they win this game, they need to win to make the playoffs. Tie or lose, they're out. And Commission makes it.
Someone notable was missing to watch this game.
Oh yeah, the Division 3 writer, who Mokan and myself messaged before the game saying you should be here for this because first it involves your team, two it's your division. Said I don't need to be there. I trust this team. They're my boys. They're gonna get us this W. They're gonna get us this dub. Said all right. So the game no show Division 5 was playing before, so Don Benevento was at the fields. He stayed to watch the game because it did impact whether he was going to play in the playoffs or not. So, Score Your Girlfriend plays Mastin the Flag. Game starts off a bit sloppy. Mastin the Flag, it's 7-7 for a little while. Mastin the Flag finally picks it up, score back to back. Now it's 21-7. There's about 7 or 8 minutes in the second half. Score Your Girlfriend gets the ball back, manages to so they score, get the 2 point. They score but miss the point the PAT. So it's 21-13. Mastin the Flag gets the ball back with like 5 minutes left. Can't do anything offensively. Give the ball back to Score Your Girlfriend after a punt. Now, Score Your Girlfriend drives the field, slowly scores, get the 2 point convert to tie the game at 21. There's about 3 minutes left in the game. Finally, Mastin the Flag's offense wakes up, drives the field, scores, gets the extra point for one. They go up 28-21 with 6 plays left in the game. Now, like I said, Mastin the Flag's season was on the line. They need to win to make it in. Drives the field. Second to last play of the game, score. Now they're down a point. There's a bazillion guys on the sideline, myself included, screaming for. They're looking at themselves. Should we go for one? Should we go for the tie? I said, if you tie, you don't make playoffs. So don't go for tie. They go for 2. They take a timeout just before the convert to talk it over. Get the convert. Go up a point, 29-28. Leave 1 play to Mastin the Flag. Mastin the Flag's quarterback doesn't have the arm to get it across the field to the end zone. Balls batted down. Score Your Girlfriend wins, knocks out the Commission, and Brent Bakken, who was being FaceTimed on the sideline for the last drive, was screaming. It was amazing. It's a pretty good moment. It was a very, very good game. And so the commission, because they lost, doesn't make the playoffs. Jaguars, because they lost, doesn't make the playoffs.
That's insane.
That's
insane.
crazy. It's crazy scenario.
It's just an insane set of circumstances. And again, like when you think of all the things that tied into it, like how Trinity thought they were in,
Oh yeah.
not in.
So Trinity.
Commission thinks they're in, not in. Jaguars waiting to see, not in. And then the commission literally coming down to the last play on the convert.
Same thing. It's a similar scenario for the commission for Trinity. They played on Sunday. They beat lightweight, so they think they make the playoffs at 5-5. Junkyard Dogs needed a lot of things to go their way, so Junkyard Dogs had 2 games this week. They won the first one. Get a second game on Wednesday night against Blue Chips, who's the second seed in the conference. But not an easy game.
Mm-hmm.
They need to win and hold Blue Chips to less than 21 points, which again is very difficult because it's a good offense. And Junkyard Dogs played sloppy. Like they weren't playing like a team that needs to hold the other team to less than 20 points. They were scoring fast, like 3 plays score, give the ball back to the other team. That
seems bizarre, right?
It was a very bizarre feeling, but it worked out. Like Denzel Eddie Lowe had a monster game rushing Jordan Mitchell. Like I think Jordan Mitchell had like one good run. That was it. Kept getting sacks, a lot of pressure, a lot of bad plays. Just before the half, Jordan Mitchell gets an OC.
Breaking news.
For, saying shit he shouldn't say.
What did he say?
I was too far
What
away.
do you think he said?
Something stupid.
He probably quoted Mokan's script.
So
Rush like I had enough of this shit.
So he gets his third
Toss
OC,
up.
which gets him suspended next week. Next week is playoffs.
Yeah.
Breaking news.
How do you think that impacts their chances? Alex Holowach is also in studio because Simo's just been talking nonstop for 45 minutes.
I have a compendium called The History of the World at home, and I think it's a little bit shorter than Simon's recap from the last couple minutes. Although, I think that Blue Chips without Jordan Mitchell, unfortunately, should be kaput. He's their quarterback. He's their workhorse. He is their offense for all intents and purposes. So without him, I just don't see that other guy who's going to step into that role and deliver for them to successfully compete in such a competitive Division III playoff race.
Yeah.
So it's sad. It's just it's sad because of the stigma of Blue Chips always failing to deliver in the playoffs. It looks like it's going to be the case once again this year.
Yeah, if they manage to win, which we'll talk about a little bit later, it's a huge game. Like I don't see it happening, but that would be crazy win from Blue Chips if they win without the quarterback.
A team that has the quarterback, they stud.
Yes.
Number 1 seed, taking on Junkyard Dogs.
Yeah, Junkyard Dogs, like I said, managed to stop Blue Chips from scoring 20 points, 18.
While also rushing.
They played in week 5. Junkyard Dogs won 39-37.
The Studs lost 2 games this season. Junkyard Dogs was one of them.
Yeah.
Junkyard Dogs, as much as it's fun to hate on, they've got some talented players. When they're on, they look really good. It just doesn't happen often. I think that Jordan Ross is a little bit out of his depth. And in a game like this, against the Stud, their defense is not going to stop them. Nobody really stopped the Studs this season.
Yeah.
So it's going to come down to, can Jordan Rossi keep up with Sam Caron? And the answer is no.
Can anyone on Junkyard Dogs stop Felix Laflamme?
Well, yeah, they got potentially one of the two-way player of the year candidates, Rory. I'm not going to take a shot.
Oh, I guess we're not
So
doing words tonight. All right, cool.
not at F3.
So Rory's been a formidable defender in Division 3. I think Laflamme is one of the up-and-coming studs on the stud, but one of the premier players in the mid to soon-to-be higher divisions. So that's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. They definitely have Rory, who could potentially put a cog in his wheel, but we'll see if that actually comes to fruition.
Is Rory submerging fast enough, Simon, to stop? Stop Felix Laflamme.
I think it's not a matter of speed to stop Felix Laflamme. He's a very physical player.
Yeah.
You need to also be very physical.
That's the thing is, Junkyard Dogs excel at that, but they stud also excel at that. So I was even surprised to see how Junkyard Dogs beat them the first time around.
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked by that, to be honest, but this is a better stud team than they were earlier in the season. They've added defensive players that pushes them over the top. Any team that adds Zakaria and Exceed to their defensive team is just much better.
Do you think their defense is actually better though, or was they allowed fewer points in the final 2 weeks of the year? Was that more of a function of playing weaker opponents, or was that their defense actually collectively coming together down the stretch?
I think it's a bit of both. Like yes, they play weaker teams, but also like I was there when they played the Crew, and their defense looked nothing like the one I faced.
That's a scary concept. The stud with an actual defense.
Yeah, and they still going to put up 45 points regularly. I don't think Junkyard Dogs has the ability to put up 45.
What's your picks?
They start.
Studs.
I'm gonna take the studs as well.
Same. Clean sweep. KGP, 2 seed. Martin Le Flag at the 7 seed. Are you guys surprised to see KGP at the 2 seed given how imbalanced the season has been? Yeah.
Because they're 5-5? A little bit. It's just a matter of, well, if Martin Le Flag would have won that game against Score Your Girlfriend, they would have been the 2nd seed.
They
Mhm.
played in week 4. KGP won 44-18. I also have a hot take for this game. Martin Le Flag, easiest schedule in Div 3. Their average opponent win rate was 383. KGP was 2nd easiest at 400.
False Kings. False Kings.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Paper Crowns.
I think it's going to be a fun game because they play each other. I think they're probably
Wow.
yeah. I think they're the 2 weakest team in conference.
You think that it's gonna be a good game because of the passing of time?
He thinks, therefore he knows.
I think they're
Like this thing is scheduled to happen, therefore it will happen.
No, they're the 2 weakest team in Conference A in the playoffs right now. By playing each other, it makes it the closest.
I mean, but one's a 2 seed, so
Yeah.
KGP though has a couple of guest stars that appeared on the roster throughout the course of the season. I think Jeremy Anderson may have been one, or somebody correct me where I'm wrong, but they have a couple of guys who played 5 games exactly who helped their offense, and it's going to be a big guessing game of who's actually there for them, right? Because this is a team that's been there in the big moments, has won in the past, never the championship, but has gone quite far in the playoffs for a few stretches. Phil Cutler, you're talking about a guy who knows how to deliver. He's had an excellent season once again, potential Hall of Famer. It's all going to come down to who they actually have, what kind of horses they have in the race in this one. Martin Le Flag, very young, inexperienced team, especially at this level. KGP is going to have the upper hand coming in.
Cedric Cabana,
Yep. Such a good player.
10 sacks this season. Do you think he'll pose a threat for Smoke and Phil Cutler?
Phil Cutler is the quarterback in FBF history with the most sacks. I'll leave it at that.
Hence my question.
I'll leave it at that.
So can you answer my question?
Yes.
All right.
I
To
think
have
he
more
was on-
sacks than Ryan Kastner is impressive.
Phil had seasons with 33 sacks. That's a crap ton of sacks.
That's a lot of sacks.
That's a crap
That's a
ton
lot
of
of
sacks.
sacks. Your picks to win the game.
KGP.
I have to pick KGP, but Martin can win some games, so I don't think it's an obvious one.
I'm going to take Martin just because of the unknown factor of KGP's roster. So to bake in that unpredictability, I'm going to take Martin.
I will also bake in the unpredictability, and I'm going to go with Martin Le Flag. And again, I think the rush component is big. If Phil Cutler doesn't have the best version of that roster, and he has to deal with the rush in his face, and he has to buy time.
Why? If they're playing with 6 with Jeff Roosevelt on defense, that doesn't help them.
Game over. Les Malud take on Cougars.
They last played week 9. Malud won that matchup 24-19.
Is this a bad matchup for Cougars?
I don't think so. I think that Cougars, that when they played each other, AJ Gomes wasn't there,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a key part to Cougars' offense and defense. Cougars is a much better team than they were. Their defense is much better than they were earlier in the season. They're learning a lot. They need to play against guys who are weak against the jump ball. For instance, like Arminio likes to put it up. Les Malud's the key to Les Malud is their defense. This is going to be another low-scoring game. But in that favor, if it comes down to it, I like Cougars' chances. Given
Anthony Beauchamp-Fraze's season, 40 touchdowns, 7 receptions, are you surprised they weren't a higher seed?
Is that a good season or a bad
I
season?
mean, it's solid all around, right? And
No,
like,
really. If you look, look at Division 3, right? This year, Simon. All the quarterbacks, they have wicked stats this year. 61 for the top quarterback, Caron. 52 for Janvier. And then there's a plethora of them who are all in the high 40s to low 50s range. So for a team to go 8-2 and their quarterback to only throw 40 touchdowns, that's far below the average for the division. And you can tell the reason for their success is obviously their defense.
Well, but I meant what I meant by that though is it's solid in that he's not turning over the ball, and we know the Malad's defense will create turnovers, right? So to see them as a 3 seed, I see them as a potentially very dangerous team, sort of lurking in the middle of that bracket.
Just because of the 2 division factor, right? Like
Yeah.
they're the second best overall. They lost to the studs, so that gives them the head-to-head edge. That's the reason they were first until they lost against. 2 weeks ago, they lost like a huge upset. They might have lost the game.
They lost to the Brotherhood.
Yeah. So they lost one game that took away the first seed from them. But at this point, I don't think it really matters. In Div 3, everybody's like good, so it shouldn't. The seeding is not super important.
We have comments from Facebook from Brian Huffman saying the Cougars suck, especially when AJ Gomes calls the defense. They get lost.
Okay, Brian.
All right, Huff.
Oh, nice.
Huffman sucks. I've never seen him on the field.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
Div 6.
The
He's the new
that's
Armando
the report
Tosta.
from the Huff Mannington Post.
Throw it back at you though. Is Cougars a bad matchup for Les Malouds?
I
don't think so.
I think the way the Malud play defense and the way they disrupt routes early in the progression of the route, I think that will create issues for the way Arminio Ialuca calls his plays.
Yes.
So what happens is, again, the reason he will air out the ball a lot is because the first look isn't there.
Yeah.
And that's when we see Arminio Ialuca struggle.
The worst matchup for Meadow would have been Brotherhood.
Correct.
And it almost happened. Very close to happen. So considering they drew Cougars instead, it's a better draw.
Brotherhood do a better version of what Malud do, essentially. With more
I
speed.
think they're more efficient at countering it.
Mm.
Like Brotherhood are used to being jammed off the line and are used to playing against guys. That are super
But
physical.
on defense, I'm saying
Yep.
they even at that
also
they do
do
the better version of what they Malud do.
Brotherhood, when they beat Malud 2 weeks ago, they brought the heat emotionally. It was a very passionate game. They were in the Malud's face. And I don't want to say the Malud were pushed back by it because they're a very collected, calm bunch. But you can tell that they were a little bit surprised by it, something they hadn't encountered so far this year, a team bringing that kind of heat. I think the Cougars, in a similar vein, are like that in a way. They bring a lot of emotional heat to the field, especially in the playoffs. They're going to tune it up. Personally, I like the way Arminio spread the ball this season. If you look at his receivers, a lot of them have close to 400 yards and at least 5 to 7 touchdowns. Arminio himself has about 2,300 passing yards. So I really like this contrast of Cougars offense versus Malud's stifling defense. It's going to be one of the better matchups in the first round for me.
Picks.
Meadow.
Cougars.
I got Cougars.
I got Cougars as well. Lightweight take on the Brotherhood.
Hey!
They last played week 9. Lightweight won 35-25. However,
But-
Brotherhood didn't have Jamil Gittins and they didn't have Theo Ojea.
One and done, baby.
You
guy.
should have retired.
Have some confidence, man. For the love of God.
So
Set a new INT record.
every
What
time
with style.
Theo Jea is there and lightweight plays the
0-4,
Brotherhood,
baby.
it is awful.
0-4, baby. The record's not good.
And but the thing that's confusing to me, and I'm also in a group chat with you, where I've had this conversation with you.
More than
You
once.
know what to do.
Well,
You refuse.
well,
to do
you
it.
say that,
Yeah.
but
No, because here's the thing: is you also play into it because you give Brotherhood exactly what they want.
okay. So because you want to bring it up, tell me what to do to beat the Brotherhood.
Okay.
And then on the other side, we have another quarterback who played against them who can tell you whether that's going to work or not.
So every time you've played Brotherhood, Theo Jea is typically, when it's not man, it's typically deep in coverage, dropping from the middle of the field.
Okay.
Which exposes a hole in the middle of the field that you need to attack as your first read. Correct?
He doesn't always play from the same position.
I mean, there's 2 people in that group chat who believe otherwise.
That's okay. I've seen
One
him
of them
play-
is on your team.
I've seen him play the middle safety and the corner position.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that doesn't drop the same way.
But when he's there, so what we've said is that the thing with Simon Dagenais is
Yes.
he will not change his game plan regardless of who he plays against. And my thing
Go
is
on.
that if you get that look from Theo,
Yes.
you're still going to lose because you're not going to change what you do.
Okay. I'm not gonna tell them what I'm gonna do.
Simon Dagenais is the typical Jekyll and Hyde at the field. You can tell from after the first drive from his strut along the sidelines. If he has the Simon strut, you know it's going to be a big game for him, and he's going to be on. If he doesn't have the Simon strut, and it's a nice little hip wiggle, and
I believe it's called the All-Star strut.
the All-Star strut. If he summons the All-Star early on, then you know it's going to be a good night. If he doesn't, then it's not. With Theo Ojeha, he loves to read your eyes and to try to jump routes, especially in the deeper part of the field. So if you're going to have any success against him, you're going to have to work through him primarily, look him off, and then run your play to the other side of the field. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to have success because Brotherhood are still stacked defensively after that. So it's definitely not a fun matchup. But there are little crevices there in the field that are
They're not
exploitable.
invincible. Honestly, the one thing that I won't say worried. The one thing that I am hopeful for is Theo J has not been playing well this season. As a whole, as a quarterback, he has not been playing well.
He's also been injured.
Yes.
He's no longer injured.
Which, again, like it is what it is. But his season as a whole, if you look at his stats, they're not great. So we have to bank on the fact that he's going to have a bad game.
Things Simo doesn't do well is
Cook, clean, pay bills,
I'm actually a good cook.
do a
Pay bills are
podcast.
terrible at pay.
things Simo doesn't do well on the football field. In-man refuses to run rub concepts. Instead, tries to put the ball over the top. He's going to pay the price for that.
Oh my
I'm
God.
seeing as if you're
Simon
not here because
Dagenais is Mike McCarthy.
yes, it's true because you also only run ISO concepts,
Yes.
like Mike McCarthy. The other thing is that when the defense is shaking you, all you do is go back to your same plays and don't call plays to counteract what they're giving you.
Okay.
So that's why I think Brotherhood will win this game easily.
Okay. So in the same group chat, we've had the same discussion.
This is a fiercely personal
No, it's okay.
intervention
which
going
we-
on right now.
Yeah,
To
I'm
which-
trying to help him. He's my
Yeah,
friend.
it's okay. To which we ended the discussion with, that was true in 2017.
Mm-hmm. I'm convinced you're going to get the same thing. this
Okay.
week.
That's okay. I'm not saying we're going to win. If I put up 40 points, I'll be super. Even if we lose, I'll be super happy. I'll be ecstatic. I'm not going to
Happy
put
with
up.
the loss, Simon
I'm
Dagenais.
not going to put up 40.
Put that on your tombstone. Happy with the loss.
I believe in you, Simon. I think that Brotherhood have been fallible at times this year, and now they're shaping into form. Theo's healthy. They've been playing hot, so on and so forth. But I think that you've been playing well also this year, and you shouldn't take away from that. Go into the game confident. Let's summon the All-Star, and let's see what happens. Roll the dice, baby.
Oh, we're going to have to. We're not going to forfeit.
Your pick.
I'm taking Brotherhood.
I knew that was coming. The comedic timing couldn't have been better. Eagle pick Brotherhood.
Oh yeah.
Simo, your pick?
Lightweight by 50.
No, come on, you real pick. We all know.
I can't pick against. I can't pick this game.
Justin Blanchard just texted. He said Brotherhood by 20.
Yeah, realistically, I'm thinking Brotherhood.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be closer than in the past.
I think it will be close to. Let's keep it moving. Alpha T's take on Sweat and Beers.
They last played week 1. Alpha T's won 41-32.
They are not the 11th seed as the bracket says. They are the 1 seed. You're correct. It's a mistake in the graphic. We did a lot of graphics in a short period of time. It happens.
The Alpha
It's a
T's,
typo.
It's Alpha T season. It's playoffs.
they're too good. Sweat and Beers had a good season.
Yeah,
Very
much
happy
better than I
with
thought.
they were able to do. I think that regardless of what's going to happen, they're going to be able to put up a lot of points against the Alpha T's. The only thing is Sweat and Beers' defense is essentially MIA, so the Alpha T's are also going to put up points, and it's going to come down to the last possession of the half if Sweat and Beers are able to manage to get that one extra possession before the half, which most likely will not happen because the Alpha Tees knows not to give those away.
It's just a tough matchup all around for Sweat and Beers, man. They rely on Rocco Cristiano as their primary outlet on offense, and the Alpha Tees are just so stacked defensively. I think they're gonna swarm him, force Robbie. Robbie's excellent at making lemonade out of the lemons that are granted to him, but I think even he won't be able to squeeze any exotic juice out of this one. The Alpha Tees are gonna roll.
Exotic juice.
Out of this
Make
one.
the case now for Sweat and Beers. How do they win this game?
Well, just so Sweat and Beers win this game. Robbie Robinson summons vintage Robbie from early 2010 seasons at quarterback for VPC, lights them up, goes score to score with Jesse Dupree, and himself makes the key stop down the line to give his team the final drive to push ahead and get the
You
win.
think we need to put a new rule into the rulebook saying there's no summoning rituals allowed in the field?
There's no what?
No summoning rituals.
Yeah.
Well, who's summoning?
Well, Simo's
Separate-
summoning all-stars. These guys are summoning vintages.
Vintages. Wine,
That's
specifically.
what Aldo said.
Yeah.
You weren't paying attention?
Yeah, I know.
You make fun of me for using
No,
the same adjectives.
We're,
You gotta do the
we're
same
making fun of Holowach currently.
thing. What's the summon?
I can't.
Go on.
Like you,
Next
you
game.
did it- you try to accuse me of not listening while not listening.
You are not listening. Go on.
Your pick. Shut up.
Alpha Tees.
Holowach, your pick.
Alpha Tees are taking this one.
Tatties.
I agree as well. They do not lose in the playoffs.
Not in this round.
Blue chips, shit.
Blue Chips won 35-32 in week 2. However, they had Jordan Mitchell.
This week.
They do not.
Thank
So
you.
I
See,
don't,
that's listening.
I don't think that shit is invincible. I've seen them play. They've made some mistakes. The only thing is, Blue Chips without Jordan Mitchell will not be competitive.
So,
Someone who
Here's your
suffered
options.
from gastro earlier this year can say the shit can be invincible.
so here's your options: Denzel Thompson, Edouard Valmet, Henry Oraye, Jose Baba, Kenneth Mitchell, Marcus Mitchell, Nehemi Sisuna, I hope I pronounced that right, and Sanders Armand. Who's your QB?
It's going to be one of the Mitchell brothers for
Yeah, I think
sure.
Marcus is
Marcus,
the
I
quarterback.
think. Yeah, I don't. It's not necessarily a good thing, but I think it's the best.
Well, they
that
don't have a
they'll-
choice, right?
They don't have a choice, right?
Guess how many attempts Marcus Mitchell has had in his life?
7.
Actually, more than that. 15.
37. Oh.
15. Guess how many completions he's had? 9.
27.
Guess how many TDs?
27.
Why are we doing this?
He's asking me to guess and then not letting me guess.
I
Why are
don't
you
think you
letting
can
the
look. I
host-
don't think you should look too much into that though, because obviously there's circumstances where maybe it was a pitch back or an end around and the
The
defense.
majority
collapsed.
of them are that.
Exactly. So I think given the pressure that this South Harmon Institute of Technology, that gets nauseating to repeat too many times, are going to bring on him, I think it's going to be a complete overwhelming environment. However, South Harmon did look horrible last week,
Yep.
getting destroyed by Scored Your Girlfriend. I hope that they don't have any lingering after effects from that
I
game.
think even
And
if
you
they
also
do-
have to remember that Marcus Mitchell's carrying this team on offense, right? 44 receptions, 500 yards, 19 touchdowns. No one else is even close. So if he's QB, who's he throwing to?
He's
Who's
throwing
gonna
to
score
Sanders
points?
Armand. It's going to be a jump ball, and it's going to be over and over again.
I think this is just a very lucky draw from shit. I don't. If they would have played Blue Chips at full strength, I would have said I would have picked Blue Chips, but without the quarterback, they're not gonna win.
On the other side, Jake Applebaum had probably his best season.
But it was a very up and down season.
115 quarterback rating.
Yeah, no.
Very good completion percentage. Didn't turn the ball over. 46 touchdowns. This is, up there in Division 3.
He had a dream receiving core in Division 3. I agree with Simon. I've seen him play a couple times. There's been weeks where you can tell if Jake early in the game if it's going to be one of those games for him. Either the ball is sharp and he makes decisions quickly and it's thrown with confidence, or it's off his back foot, wobblers into traffic. And that's when you know which Jake you're dealing with.
And the thing with Jake Applebaum is he gave up 13 sacks. He also throws a lot off his back foot, as you pointed out. Will the rush have an impact in this game?
Yes. The problem is, if the game's not close and shit's up by 3 scores, it won't matter.
When you're a quarterback and you know that your defense is going to stop them every single time, you're in a different zone mentality, and Jake's going to be cruising in this game.
Picks, obviously.
Shit.
Yeah, South Harmon.
Do we all agree?
Mm-hmm.
It's a shitty time of it. Hate when we all agree. Dirty Dogs, scored UGF.
This is amazing. crazy.
They last played week 5. Dirty Dogs won 46-39.
Scored Your Girlfriend had to win back-to-back to make the playoffs. Did very impressively. I really like what Scored Your Girlfriend's been doing last second half of the season. Good offense, good defense. It's going to be interesting to see who rushes Ryan Leninowski and how efficient he's going to be. Because if you allow Ryan to run in the pocket,
Who do you think it should be?
their fastest guy, even though he likes to play safety. Whoever's the fastest on your team needs to rush. Who's the fastest on the team? I don't know who the fastest guy on the team is. A lot of the guys are fast. What do you want me to say, man?
You know what I would just say.
They use Bruno Provencher as a rusher mostly. Is he the fastest guy on the field? He's a crazy athlete. So, but also is like Sifax or Olivier.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that what could also work is using more than one rusher.
Correct.
Switch it up. I hate playing against multiple rushers.
To be honest, that's a thing not enough teams do. We all play quarterback, though none of us as good as Holowach. How do you? Because I know, like on a personal note, and Simon spoke that too, is when they change rushers, even for a slower rusher, I find at times it can throw you off because you're just used to a different pace. Do you feel that? Do you experience that?
So I don't like to ever toot my own horn in that because I know how success can come and can go real quickly. One advantage that I've had for a while now at quarterback, the one slight advantage is that the rusher means absolutely nothing to me. It could be the fastest guy, it could be the slowest, the tallest, the shortest. I've trained myself to get the ball out quickly and I take a deep drop. So the one you can tell the defense will throw me off, certain scheme, certain defender, rusher will have no impact upon my game.
So no.
But
screw you
I honestly I
How
don't
are
care.
you? You're more handsome. You're better quarterback.
I don't care.
Leave me alone.
But even
alone.
if, let's say you're looking for your first read, right? Or you're looking for something, and then you realize, shit, I can't put the ball there. That extra half second you would have to go for your second read that you wouldn't have with a faster rusher doesn't
He's
bother you?
saying he reads so fast. It doesn't matter.
I'm saying that the ball it gets out of my hand quick, but with the thing is with a rusher now you're looking at different factors. You can have a fast rusher who can't tackle worth a lick, so you just have to sidestep your hip a bit and he's flying 20 yards downfield. Whereas you can have a slower rusher who breaks down better. It takes a little bit longer to get to you, but make sure that he's grabbing your flag on his first attempt. So there's a lot of give and take. Just because a guy's fast does not mean he's going to be a good rusher, but rusher's certainly a valuable position, right? I think that the thing is with Ryan Lewinsky is that he goes through phases where he decides if he wants to run or if he decides he wants to pass, and we've seen him become a prominent pocket passer this year on numerous occasions. So the run is always there in his back pocket, but we'll see if he gets comfortable in this game. You probably won't even see him moving that much. He'll just be looking to tear up the defense with his pass.
You moved the letters around in his name.
Lelinowski.
Correct letters, wrong order.
Oh, my apologies.
Lelinowski.
But you look across the board. Sahara Cohen, Jordan Panetta, Dave Chidiat, Carl Pannier, who hasn't even, just by virtue of all the guys on his team, hasn't even had the kind of season he could have had on a roster that was built kind of differently. Is this the best roster we've seen Dirty Dogs put together? And do you think they can be stopped in this game?
Well, Carl gets a decent amount of targets, but he also has a lot of drops. Like it is what it is. I think that when Jordan Panetta is playing, Jordan takes those targets away.
Mm-hmm.
So the number one receiver is Michael Chidiat, Dave Chidiat.
Yeah.
Number two receiver becomes Jordan Panetta. Number three receiver, then it's like a toss up between Carl and like JC Binet and like.
You're forgetting about Sahar Cohen.
Yeah, Sahar Cohen's got 45 catches.
Yeah, but Sahara's playing
And the
snapper,
majority of the team.
and he gets a lot of underneath.
But he's still getting the targets,
discards, right? Like it's instead of Ryan running, you learn to give it to a snapper.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So all in all, I think that it still remains a very one-dimensional offense that goes through Dave Chidiat first. If you're
Fair.
able to shut down Dave Chidiat, Dirty Dogs are going to struggle.
Which not particularly easy.
Hasn't really been done because he's a Division 1 player.
Does Score Your GF have the personnel to stop the Dirty Dogs offense?
I think they're fast enough. I think one-on-one, I don't think so. I think a guy like Bruno Provencher could man up against Dave Chidiat well.
Mm-hmm.
But across the board, if they play zone, I think they're fast enough and they're aggressive enough to cause issues.
Thoughts?
Ryan's got a. He calls good plays. He calls
He
good
does.
plays.
That
Surprised
was
me.
honestly that was the knock against him before. Is
Yeah.
his play calling was atrocious. He has since learned that the plays that he was calling, that he learned from having played with Ryan Castor, for example, don't necessarily fit his skill set,
Yeah.
and he started to adapt the same concepts to plays that now fit his style.
I typically saw him as a receiver playing quarterback,
Yeah.
and I think he's grown in that quarterback role over the past couple of seasons. And another thing he does very well is he's got ice in his veins in a clutch situation. So 3rd and 10 or something, he more than often than not will come up with the play despite the circumstances.
But they also take chances too. Like if it's 3rd and 10, he's not afraid of going for like the touchdown. Right? Like to a midfield, it's 3rd and 10. You could run before he used to run to that. So you would make it like a 7-yard run, get 4th and 3, and then you get yourself a chance.
But
you have also the opportunity of just hitting underneath and get the similar scenario through a pass. But now he's not afraid of throwing like the corner for 25 yards.
Can the Dirty Dogs, though, and I think this might be one of the key factors in the game, can the Dirty Dogs stop Score Your Girlfriend on defense?
I think they have the right defense to do it. They got some good defenders overall. I think they're annoying to play against because their safeties and Dave Chiat and Ryan Landowski weirdly don't look great, but man, they're fast. And they cover a lot of ground quickly, and if you're not seeing it, you're gonna make a mistake at least once, and that's a turnover right there. And usually one turnover in Div 3 is enough to win a game.
I think Dirty Dogs are one of those opportunistic defenses. Yep. They're not going to stop you consistently, but they are going to turn you over at least once a game, and we'll see if that's enough.
Yep.
Picks.
Dogs.
Scored your girlfriends.
I'm going Dirty Dogs.
Alrighty.
Those are our picks. The Crew take on Bearskins. Crew have been fun to watch, man.
They
Crew's a
last
good team.
played Week 7. Bearskins won 26-12.
Crew's the only team to beat the Alpha Tees this season.
Yeah.
Well,
It wasn't the Crew, though. It was the Braves 3.0, essentially.
Hot
after
take.
the Crew, after Braves.
Hot
Not bad.
take.
I'll take it.
Crew with the hardest schedule in Div 3 at 622 average opponent strength.
And so that's a really tough schedule. But
Brand new team. Tough.
yeah, the brand new, playing a tough schedule and still look this good.
Their first few weeks they were rusty. We played the Crew week 4, I believe, and they were still making some mistakes that I haven't seen them make in the last 3 weeks. Their offense is better. Their defense is better. They're calling better plays. Their play calling on defense is also better. They're learning, right? Like if it's your first game ever in FPF, you could be great tackle players, but that doesn't make you great FPF players.
So the Bearskins are confident going into this one. They won the first matchup. They believe history will repeat itself. And speaking to some of the guys on their roster, they think they have the game plan to match up versus the Crew defensively, at least. So what do you think? What do you think the Bearskins' offense is going to look like versus the Crew's defense? Do you think Neil Edison is going to have the juice in this one?
So it's always tough to know which Neil Edison is going to be at the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has games where he literally can't miss a throw. When he runs, everyone just dives and falls on the floor and misses his flags.
He's got great basketball.
Don't understand. Yeah, it must be because like I literally watched games of the week where it looks like a comedy skit, like a Monty Python thing where dudes are just falling, collapsing around him.
Yeah.
You know,
Looks like a
There's this
paper.
musk.
Looks like a piece of paper falling over, or a paper tree falling over.
But he's a very streaky quarterback, right? Like if he starts off good, then he's like unstoppable. But if the first drive goes bad, like he's gonna take a shot deep because that's what he does. He's gonna take a shot deep to either Marco or Sasha, Marco Bertoli or Sasha Papic. If the Crew expects it and takes that away, Neil sort of crumbles.
Well, they
the
do
whole
now.
I'll give you one name for this game, Sasha Papic. He was unlocked, I think, in Week 11. He had a big game receiving, and if they call his name up, he's going to be tough to deny in this encounter.
He's been Neil's go-to for
years.
a long time now.
What did
For
he
years.
summon?
Pardon?
What do you believe he summoned?
Sasha?
Yeah.
He's going to summon a machete well, he lives in the Amazon, essentially, right? So he's
I thought you were saying that he was going to summon a machete because you're getting pissed off at me making fun of you and you're going to throw a machete at me before the night's over. Emile Telfair, Robin Messier, and the name escapes me, and Hugo Lussier combined for 1,400 yards of receivers.
It's crazy.
I know Bearskins believe they have the game plan. Can you game plan against that explosive an offense?
Okay, so I've seen a lot of the Crew this season. I've seen at least 4 games, and I I'm not too sure what they're doing. I've
Okay.
seen a lot of plays, so many different plays that use so many different styles that I don't think you could actually game plan saying, this is what, like, if you play me, you know what I'm gonna do.
We just talked about that.
Yeah, but if I've seen these guys play, and I've seen them use completely different concepts throughout different games.
Does that kind of help though? Being that they're
100%.
not from FPF, that they're gonna run plays that aren't from the FPF lexicon.
Alternatively, Marco Bertoli is a great defensive play caller. He doesn't get enough credit for it. He's trained at the school of Vince Nardone. They have great defensive minds on that team between Marco Bertoli, Sean Avram, and Vinny Golano.
Sean, stop.
So
Stop, Sean.
Sean's a great defensive play caller.
Come on.
Great defensive play
Come on.
caller.
Go on.
Absolutely, I'll stand by that. So what you said about the
He's
crew,
gonna be better at that than spelling. I'll give you that.
yeah, well, for sure, of course, East End, bro. But so is the crew's unorthodox offense? Is there going to be a fork thrown into their thing from the Bearskins' shifty defensive play calling? Right, Marco Bertoli
That's what
is
I'm
setting
saying,
different looks.
Is because they do things that we're not used to seeing in FPF. Because look, everyone runs a variety of the same concepts, right?
Of course.
And then it happens all the time. Like Braves came in, and that was one of the things is, they're bringing in some stuff that we haven't really seen before, and we see this now with the crew.
There's one play from everything I've seen from the crew. There's one play that's very repetitive that they run often.
Mm-hmm.
It's from this one. There's one play that's very repetitive is the drag from one of their players. They use it repeatedly. It works because the guy is so fast.
Yeah.
And the connection's there. I think that if there's one play that you could predict and stop, that's it. But aside from that, realistically, it's a very good team that uses the field in many ways. Moving on.
Yeah.
Picks.
Yeah. I pick. I'm gonna go with the crew.
I'm going to take the Bearskins. I think they're going to thwart
Bias.
them defensively.
Bias. Just Sean Avram bias.
I'm going to go with the crew as well.
Nice.
Marco and Papic are both on my Div 2 team. So
So much high fives we missed. No, it's too late.
Come on, good.
Moment's gone forever.
we got 3 crews versus 1 Bearskins. I just want to put that on record.
Absolutely.
I still feel bad.
It's not that
Come on.
I don't like the
To
Bearskins.
me.
It's that I hate Sean Avram.
Yes.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you, Eagle.
Got it.
Thank you, Holowach. Eagle, say your thing about playoffs.
I don't need to. Everyone knows it.
Thank you all for letting me be myself.
There's a bunch of new teams in 3. What are you saying?
Like, yeah, the crew, man. They don't know. What's the
Okay,
play?
3
What's the
refs.
stupid overtime rule?
Home team gets the pick. Overtime rules.
Turn your mic off.